Hey guys, David here with MFT Raw. Panasonic have just announced 2 new cameras for the GH line and 1 new lens for the Micro Four Thirds system. And yes, they've finally broken the silence on the rumors of the GH5 Mkii, but also to see the light of day in 2021, Panasonic will finally be releasing the GH6. Now Panasonic gave us a good specs rundown of the GH5 Mkii, but they also gave us a few key specs from the GH6, which I'll get to shortly. But they did say something that I thought was really important. They said that the GH6 will be the flagship Lumix camera and will set the benchmark for video performance within the interchangeable lens camera market. Now, that's a bold statement, and it is exactly what I wanted to hear from Panasonic. Micro Four Thirds can always stay relevant because of its video potential. This is the very reason that the GH5 is still so popular, and hopefully the GH6 will continue that. So let's start with the lens because it is a very tasty looking lens, built to complement the recent and pretty amazing Panasonic Leica 10-25 f1.7. This is another constant aperture f1.7 lens, but this time it will cover 25mm to 50mm, which is absolutely perfect if you ask me, and exactly what Micro Four Thirds needs at the moment. Fast, constant aperture lenses that make full frame users feel a little bit jealous. This lens will come with Leica branding, but of course coming with that is outstanding image quality. There's no word on pricing for this lens just yet, but you better start saving your pennies from now because it's going to be like the 10-25 f1.7, which comes in at almost £2,000. However, the focal length of 25 to 50mm suggests that maybe, just maybe, we might see this one coming a little bit cheaper. It is a little bit easier to make these focal lengths, so hopefully that will translate to the final RRP. Fingers crossed. The bulk of the presentation was taken up with the announcement of the GH5 Mkii. From the looks of it, it is quite a major update, although not really focusing on the video performance. Panasonic seemed to have greatly improved the user experience, adding wireless live streaming capabilities, which will please a lot of YouTubers, and linear manual focusing, which gives a more precise feel to the electronic manual focusing systems in some of the lenses. The GH5 Mkii will be able to shoot uncropped 10-bit cinema 4K video at 50 and 60p. That signal can simultaneously be recorded internally as well as via the HDMI out. Vlog will come pre-installed. How annoying would it be if it wasn't? But you also get new color profiles, Cinelike D2 and Cinelike V2. Anamorphic shooters will be able to shoot 4x3 10-bit 6K at 30, 25 and 24 frames per second, as well as 4K 60 and 50. It is unclear though if that will be in 10-bit though, but I guess not, as I'm sure they would have said. There are loads of other improvements that bring the GH5 right up to date. Things like USB charging and power delivery. It is like if the GH5 was released today, this is what it would be like. But it does make you wonder whether or not they could offer that through the original GH5 through software updates. If you're not interested in the GH5 Mkii, and I suspect that some of you really are not, you will most definitely be interested in the little tease that Panasonic gave us for the GH6. Surprisingly, they partly showed off what the camera would look like. In fact, they showed off quite a lot of what it would look like. Pretty much the top half of it, so we get to see the dials on the top, one which is accented in red, with a more aggressive angle to its lines than the predecessor. It is a little bit more G9 looking, but seriously, who cares what it looks like? All we want to know is, does it have the chops to compete with full frame? And judging from the 3 specs that Panasonic have given us, it certainly does. The camera will have a brand new sensor and a brand new Venus engine processor to go with it, which has never been used on any other Lumix camera, so it isn't going to be the Venus engine from the Panasonic S1H or from anything else. It will get 422 10-bit 4K DCI recording at 60 frames per second, 10-bit 4K at 120 frames per second with variable frame rate and high frame rate recording modes. But most impressive of all is the 10-bit 5.7K at 60 frames per second. This is all they've let slip so far, but there is no doubt that this will be an incredible piece of kit and a serious filmmaking tool. I don't think they'll equip it with some of the live streaming capabilities that the GH5 Mkii has got, aiming that camera more at the YouTubers. But I do think that the price of that thing will be something else that separates the two. There was an announcement on firmware updates as well. On June the 9th, the GH5S is going to get ProRes RAW recording via HDMI to an Atomos Ninja 5, which is pretty awesome. The GH5 Mkii will also get an update at some point in 2021. The date wasn't specified, but that will get a few improvements as well for its streaming capabilities. This is a good look for the GH6 and in turn for the whole Micro Four Thirds system. I'm sure we'll get to find out more and more as the weeks roll on. I'd like to know what you lot think down in the comments below. Thanks guys, just a quick one to react to the announcement. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe and like and all of that stuff, and I will see you in the next video.